Just like all other forms of media, video games have the ability to uplift or demolish your emotions. Plenty of titles offer a relaxing romp that can bring a smile to your face, but if you're looking for a tear-jerker, you've come to the right list. You might want to grab the tissues before embarking on these particular adventures. After watching this, we want to hear what video game title made you cry the most. Drop us a comment and let us know.
Pretend to be everything you're not. You will always be a monster.
1. Detroit Become Human. In Detroit Become Human, you play as a set of androids in the year 2038. Each one has a different role in society, but their actual function is to serve humans, and they're treated as such. Through their eyes, you'll see a narrative of the world, how it's changing, and whether they need to change. With each story you delve into, you'll face new challenges and must make choices that'll affect the outcome of the game in significant ways. That includes changing the ending based on what you do. So try out the game and see what happens. Then, try again and see if you can change the fate of everything.
James is born.
2. The Walking Dead, the final season. You want something sad? Here's something sad. Despite having inspired a few less than desirable video game titles in the past, Telltale Games made The Walking Dead fans happy or not with The Walking Dead. The final season, the development team was already well known for delivering powerful, narrative-focused adventure titles, and they outdid themselves with this painful release. Telltale Games announced that this final installment would be the closing story for Clementine, but as the game got closer to launch, there were a few bumps for the development studio. The studio ran into trouble and was forced to close down, leaving the game in limbo. This 4-part game only managed to release 2 of its 4 parts, leaving gamers wondering if the title would actually have an ending. Thankfully, Skybound, the company owned by Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead, stepped in and secured the developers who decided to stay on the project, despite dealing with pressures from their previous employer. Let's just say they didn't skimp on the emotion this time around.
What do you know it's for you?
There's a tracking color tied to it.
3. Firewatch. Firewatch was the first game to be developed by the studio Campo Santo. This walking simulator game is, as you'd expect, heavy on the narrative, and the gameplay is exploration-focused. Set in the year 1989, players take the role of Henry, a man starting a new job as a fire lookout. It's an isolated job, as players are tasked with keeping an eye on the national forest to ensure that no fires start. You do have the ability to talk with a nearby fire lookout, a woman named Delilah, through the use of a walkie-talkie. It's through these conversations that we learn more about Henry and his decision to take on a job that essentially takes him away from all contact with other people. The game is all about the story, and as you progress, you'll start to uncover some saddening reasons behind Henry's decision. Players will also learn about what happened to the last person that took the position before Henry. The alternate ending can also cause plenty of pain too.
Don't be mad.
I'm not.
I just couldn't be out there for another minute.
I get it.
You do?
I think so.
Hey, it shouldn't take long for the helicopter to reach you.
Okay.
Four, Heavy Rain.
Father that would be able to do what mine could.
In Heavy Rain, a person known as the Origami Killer is on the loose, and they continue to strike in a city. You'll play as 4 characters with 4 unique reasons for wanting to take this killer down. Through their stories, you'll learn more about what is going on and why they are driven to stop this killer before becoming his next victim. The title is hardcore in many ways, and we'll say right now it's not for everyone. Choices you make in the game will lead to dire consequences sometimes, so if you're not prepared for that, don't play, but if you can handle it, dive deeper into this narrative and see all its scary glory. Five Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. If you have siblings, brothers, A Tale of Two Sons will be extra tough. This tear-jerking game that puts players into a compelling and horrific narrative right from the start, and while it only takes a few hours to play through, it's sure to stick with you long after the credits roll. Within the game, players follow 2 brothers who must embark on a grand adventure in order to bring back special water. The water is believed to have the power to heal their dying father, though the journey itself will prove to be difficult to overcome for these 2 brothers. Again, because of its length, it's hard to say too much without spoiling the narrative. With that said, this is a beautiful title with puzzle-filled gameplay and epic boss fights. It's also on the cheaper side, so if you want to cry on a budget, this is a great choice. Six, Life is Strange, Before the Storm. Believe it or not, Life is Strange, Before the Storm was actually made by a different developer. Instead of Dontnod Entertainment taking the reins during production, Deck 9 stepped up to the plate and gave fans this deep new installment. Players take on the role of Chloe Price, Max's best friend. From Life is Strange. To avoid spoiling too much of either game, especially since Life is Strange is also included in this list. This game takes place shortly after Max moves away from Arcadia Bay, 3 years prior to the events of Life is Strange. With this installment, we get a real glimpse into what kind of trouble Chloe Price has gotten herself into. Nothing seems to have gone Chloe's way until she bumps into a new friend that could take over Max's place. This is a story that revolves around Chloe Price and Rachel Amber, the girl that was announced missing at the very beginning of Life is Strange. As it stands, this is another emotional roller coaster. If you pick the game up after playing through Life is Strange, it will definitely give new meaning to Chloe's relationships.
I've got to tell you something.
One of my guns is missing.
7. Life is Strange. Life is Strange is a game that may not look too deep at first glance, but when you give it a try, you'll have a tough time setting the controller down. There are so many unique elements to the narrative journey that Dontnod Entertainment created. It's impossible not to recommend this title to both seasoned gamers and newcomers alike. Within the game, players take on the role of a young adult named Max, who is in her senior year of high school, accepted into a prestigious academy with a desirable photography course. Max returns to her hometown of Arcadia Bay, Oregon, and stumbles upon her best friend from childhood, Chloe. Years have passed since Max left with her parents, and their friendship slowly eroded. However, one day, Max discovers she has a supernatural ability to reverse time, and through it, she is able to rekindle her friendship with Chloe. With all that said, there's something deeper that resides in Arcadia Bay, and this game definitely doesn't hold back on the drama. players will learn of deep dark secrets the town has kept hidden along with morally tough and emotional choices that can alter the game's narrative. The simple gameplay makes this entry easy for anyone to pick up and play. We won't spoil the ending, but it's certainly a hot topic to this day.
Oi.
Blackwood Crossing. Blackwood Crossing is the debut title for Paper 7. Players are put into the shoes of a young woman named Scarlet who is taking care of Finn, her younger brother. As the game progresses, more strange things begin to take place, and ultimately, this leads players to solve a variety of puzzles as they explore moments of Scarlet's past. Much like What Remains of Edith Finch, this is another shorter adventure title that's perfect for gamers who like to sit back and enjoy the story. As you progress, more about Scarlet and Finn comes to light, and it may not be what you'd expect.
Now that you're back, you'll stay, won't you? You have to stay.
Nine, The Last of Us Remastered. When Naughty Dog released The Last of Us, was renowned for its gameplay and narrative. The studio had already become known for its excellent work with Sony, but this title was on another level. At its core, The Last of Us follows how the world was changed after a zombie-like plague. Most of humanity was struggling to survive as fungus-type hosts attached themselves to human bodies, essentially reanimating them. While technically they aren't the undead, it's tough to classify them as anything else. The game follows Joel, who has his world completely shattered early in the game. However, after a small time jump, it seems that Joel is making his way in a world filled with nothing but chaos, corruption, and uncertainty. His temporary peace is broken when he winds up having to protect a little girl named Ellie as they make their way across the country on foot. As you can imagine, this is a slower journey that takes Joel and Ellie a long time to complete, but it's during their travels that the two begin to bond. Despite how bleak the world has become, players will be gripping their controller and sitting on the edge of their seats all the way through this title. After the amount of time you'll spend playing, it's hard not to get attached to the characters and floored by the twist that comes towards the end of this narrative.
Lee, wake up! Please don't be dead. Please, no!
10. The Walking Dead Season 1.
Why would you do that?
It's clear that Telltale Games cares deeply about each of its releases. Oftentimes, the company will handle other IPs such as Batman and Game of Thrones, adding their own unique twist to each. This usually results in a more powerful narrative that relies heavily on player choices in order to alter the story and the characters within it. The Walking Dead takes place in the popular comic and AMC TV series universe where fans can expect to see a familiar face. The game is, however, centered around unique characters within the Walking Dead universe. The first season follows Lee Everett, a man on his way to prison until the zombie apocalypse ends up freeing him from law enforcement. Now free in a chaotic world, Lee stumbles upon a young child by the name of Clementine who is all alone. Lee quickly takes on the role of Clementine's guardian and protects her from the harsh new realities of the world. This is a deep interactive drama that spans across a few episodic seasons. We highly suggest playing the first season and making your way through the heart-wrenching story. What do you think about our list? Leave us a comment down below. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks and see you on the next video.
You thought it would end like this, huh? I'm real!